much. Well, as you can imagine, I think that the reaction to the appointment of the top six of the ANC is exactly what everybody is wanting to give this morning, and we are wanting to hear it. So it's a very busy morning here on the show from Nasrec, although around me it's exceptionally quiet. There are no delegates, there's nothing happening right now, and I'm sure it'll all start picking up a bit later. People are exhausted, that much I can tell you. Not much sleep has been had by anybody since Saturday. But let's now talk to Solly Mapaila, who is the SACP's first General Secretary. Good to have you on the show. Welcome.
Good morning, Leah.
How are you feeling this morning?
No, I'm feeling okay. Thank you very much.
And tell me, in terms of your top six for the ANC, are you happy with the decisions?
No, yes, we are happy. First, we want to congratulate President Cyril Ramaphosa for his election and the other 5 officials. We think it's important also that the ANC branches sent a clear message against factions and decided on their own without a slate that propagated this view to unite the movement. As you know, we have always, from one conference after the other, had many splits after different slates if they were not successful. But in this case, the delegates themselves decided to take this initiative and coordinated unity of the movement.
Now, in terms of the rest of the top six, you've mentioned Cyril Ramaphosa as the president. Of course, there's a lot more to have a look at. Are you happy with those choices? Do you think that Cyril Ramaphosa can come in and do what he has promised to do?
We think so. Obviously, there's a leadership collective, but ultimately the buck stops with the president. If there's a decay and rot in the organization, he's the one that will will take full responsibility. But it's actually the one to uplift the moral high ground and the discipline inside the leadership to improve integrity of the leadership and accountability, and making sure that amongst them there's no one who will be involved in corruption and all those kind of activities that have actually besmirched the previous leadership, particularly of President Zuma.
You've been, obviously there's been a great divide within the alliance during the time of President Jacob Zuma, and you've been very vocal about that. What do you look at now? Obviously, there's still the NEC that needs to be chosen. There's still a path that needs to be travelled in order to rectify this relationship. But do you believe that it can be salvaged?
No, most certainly. I think there's a huge responsibility on the current leadership. There's a need, for instance, from our side to change the manner in which the alliance operates, to adapt it to the current conditions, and to make sure that all the programs that are transformative, that can change the lives of our people, particularly the majority who are poor, if you like, the working class, as well as the general insecurity of our people, the problems of gender inequality in society, should be firmly on the ground as a political program of the entire alliance. And this leadership has that particular task to ensure that aggregate of the policies that are agreed here are actually implemented in a systematic program.
I mean, Solly, you've spoken out very, very much so about President Jacob Zuma, saying that within a year he wouldn't speak to you. He didn't engage with the SACP and with the alliance partners. You refused him entry and to speak at many of your events. I mean, the divisions were felt. They were there. And, you know, having now this change of leadership, I again ask you, can we salvage that? Because, you know, the alliance is a very, very important part of the ANC. But it looked like that was the one division that was coming, political parties coming out of that, breakups of the ruling party. This is an important moment for its future.
Yes, of course. President Zuma, to start with, developed a self-centered attitude. He didn't care about consultation. In many instances, he couldn't even consult the ANC itself, let alone the alliance. He refused the alliance meeting for almost a year, but he comes to Congress and blamed the alliance when actually he was rejecting meetings. We don't expect that from this leadership. We hope that from this leadership there will be a constant interface between us to make sure that all challenges facing our people in our movement are urgently attended to. So we hope that nonetheless, of course, the ANC delegates here have chosen their leadership. We have no say in how they choose their leadership and who they actually should choose, and they've made that determination. We'll work with the leadership that they've chosen.
Yeah, I know that one of the first reactions from you during an interview was to say that you want to see appropriate cleansing of the party. What do you mean by that?
Because what we think the problem is inside the movement, it's largely a deeper problem that takes place also in branches of the ANC, that there's a need for systematic renewal of the organization from the branch level. If you have many members of the ANC, for instance, who are unemployed, whose daily task is almost to look at the affairs of the ANC and sometimes get paid for doing so by the people that they support through the ANC system. So you have to cleanse the ANC system itself as well, so that you can have the capacity now to also deal with the problems of corruption and irregularities in government or the public service, which we largely occupy given our mandate we have in government. Therefore, that particular process is extremely important. If you fail to do that, you will not be able to drive through a clear message to fight against irregularities. That's why we had many court cases which were unnecessary if we were doing our work proper in our structures, in branches and regions.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk that last night Cyril Ramaphosa may have won the leadership position, but Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma's faction has actually won, which is a little bit worrisome for you, is it?
There's no faction that won, actually. What has come out, it's unity of the movement. And I think that because the factions had expected a winner-takes-all scenarios, even the public generally, but what has come out, it's a system that forces the organization to self-reflect, reconnect with itself and unite itself so that it can carry out the mandate proper. And that's what we think the great winner here was the African National Congress.
Good. And unity, you believe, is possible?
No, of course, unity is very possible and we'll work for it.
All right. There, Solly, thank you very much for talking to us. Soly Mapaila giving us his views after the announcement of the top six of the ANC last night. The NEC is what's expected to be announced today, and that, of course, is a very, very important part of the functioning of the ANC and the decision-making engine of the party. So that is the big thing to look forward to today. Let's take a break. We'll see you after this. Stay tuned.